Good morning, YouTube. I think it's a little bit different today. I'm going to give you my summary for my work on Wednesday, the 16th of August, which is yesterday. But I'm not going to do it moving, I'm going to do it staying here. I'm going to have a picture of what I can see out of my windscreen. It's a very nice view of a park in Dalkeith. So for yesterday, I want to tell you about my work. First of all, so if you remember from the previous day, I woke up in a hotel having had a night out with my partner, and we made our way back north from Aylesbury. And on the way yesterday morning, we were looking for jobs to get us from Aylesbury back to home. And a couple of things came up. I bid on a few things, and then a job came up from Milton Keynes to Northampton. And I put a bid on that. It was a medium wheelbase job, and it was about 45 miles or so. And I put £60 on, and I got the job. And when the shipper rang through, I asked them to give me the postcode of the Milton Keynes pickup, and I realised I was about 22 minutes away from the pickup when I got the actual postcode. But during that process, she took a while to find it, and I just got the impression from the way that she was talking that she was new to the job. I may be very wrong, but she didn't have that information to hand on the system. It took a while to find it, and she seemed a bit confused as to why I was asking to have it, but maybe that's just me projecting. Anyway, so I got the job come through about 2 or 3 minutes later. But maybe about 5 minutes later. It took a while for the job to come through. I was sort of made my way towards Milton Keynes, and it took about perhaps 4 minutes for it to come through. I thought it was a bit of a delay than I would expect. And then it came through, and I had a look at the notes, and there's loads of notes about the shipper's terms and conditions, which I scanned through to double check there's nothing really bad. Although it would have been too late at this point to do anything about it. And then at the bottom, it had medium van job, and it had the weight of 1,253 kilograms. And I knew instantly I can't take that much weight. That's too heavy. So I thought about it for a bit. I thought, well, can I take it? And I thought I wouldn't want to take it if I was on my own. And I'm not even on my own today. I've got my partner with me in the van on our way home. So even if I was on my own, it was too much weight. If it'd been like 1150, I may well have, and I was on my own, I would have done it probably. I can take just over 1,100 kilograms. I've been at the limit, and my van doesn't drive any differently. So anyway, this is far too much. So I rang her back and explained, and I just said, "Am I right in reading this as being 12,500? 1,250 kilograms?" She said, "Yes, it was." And I said, "I can't take that weight, it's too heavy for my van." And so she said, "Oh, well, I'll cancel it then." I got the impression she was a bit surprised that I was cancelling it. But I'm glad I did, because it would have been too heavy for me. And this, it raises a question in my mind. And I don't know, and I'm not a van guy, I don't know much about vans. And I was thinking, well, I know that my van's nowhere near taking that much weight. I can't imagine there's many vans, if any vans, that can take that weight. And I did think, a medium wheelbase van, or maybe a midi van, is actually smaller and lighter. The actual van is smaller and lighter. So if all vans of that sort of size are 3.5 ton rated vans, then it is possible that a van that's smaller than mine could take more weight than mine. So my question is there anyone watching this video, or do you know of any vans that as a standard could take 1,250 kilograms as a load? Because I don't think there are many, if any, that could do that. And I'm happy to be informed if there are. I'd be really surprised if any small vans can take that weight. I bet it's much less than that for a small van. So I suppose it's only really um, a standard transit size panel van that I'm thinking about. Obviously, a Luton probably could take that way. I don't know. Maybe they can't. I don't know. Maybe they have this. Maybe they have the same issue, but the other way around. Maybe because they're bigger vans, they can take less weight because than I can because they've got the same capacity. I don't know. My understanding is that the 3.5 ton limit is from the license requirements. Beyond that, you have to get a different license sort of permission, and that 3.5 ton is the maximum that anyone can drive with just a normal license. So if that is the case, then a Luton van potentially could take less weight than I can, because the van itself will be heavier than my van. As I said, I don't know. People out there will know a lot more about vans than I will, and so I'd like to know. The simple question is this: is there going to be? Is it likely that the person that took that job, because the job, sorry, the job came back on, and there was a note saying weight 1,250 kilograms, and that note definitely wasn't on the alert when I did it, because I would have noticed it the first time. So that note's put on because of my refusing to do the load, and so and it got sold within about 10 minutes. It got off the system, and I thought that's going to stay there for ages. But no, where did it go? So I'm wondering, was that sold to someone who just said, "I don't care, I'm just going to overload it," or is there actually going to be vans out there, medium wheelbase vans, that can take that load? Anyway, that was the question I had, which I hoped I can get an answer to. So what happened next? So I cancelled that, carried on driving up towards home, and then a really good job came up. I was so gutted, I couldn't even bid on it. It was from Peterborough to, I think it was Wales, South Wales. And I thought that's a great distance, but I can't do that because I've got to drop off my partner, which is home first. There's no way I can get to Peterborough and home and get across to Wales. So I couldn't bid on that job. And we said to each other, wouldn't it be great if you got the same sort of job but going north towards Scotland? And I said, I thought, yeah, that'd be a perfect job, because I could then pick it up, drop her off, and then carry on up towards the north. And then another job came on, which was perfect, and it could have been it was even more perfect than the one I had before. It was Peterborough to Shrewsbury to Spalding. It's basically a wait and return, or I think wasn't disclosed that. I think it was described as two jobs, as two loads, but in one job. So it was a load from Peterborough going to Shrewsbury, then Shrewsbury, another load from Shrewsbury to Spalding. And I couldn't bid on it because I couldn't. Actually, no, I did. I did bid on it, but I would have had, if I'd got it, I would have said to them, "Can I go to Spalding first?" But I thought the likelihood of that happening is so remote. But I didn't get the job anyway. Yeah, so some jobs came up, and I made my way up, and then a job came up. Would you believe it? From Peterborough to Edinburgh, 326 miles, and I put a bid on a small van job. I put a bid on of £300, and I thought this would be perfect for me, but I didn't get it. And then another job came on, Peterborough to Edinburgh. I thought, is that the same job? Because it was the same shipper, same postcode. I thought that must be the same job. But I looked at it again because I'd had it in my quotes as unsuccessful. And it was a different delivery postcode, and it was a different job because the other one had been sold, and I think the pickup might have been slightly different pickup as well. I think it might be a P4 pickup rather than a P7. So I put a bid on same price, £300 for this job, and I got it. It was 303 miles for a small van, and I got given the job. So I explained to them that I would pick up the job provided I could pop home first. So pick up the job, pop home, and then go up to Edinburgh. And they said that was fine because you can have breaks doing this job. So I went to Peterborough at 1 o'clock. I picked up this small part, and then made my way home, dropped off my partner, got my van sorted out for the week. So I put some AdBlue in, cleaned the windscreen, went to the toilet, made some food, and then by the time I'd had that delay off my route and the break, I'd added an hour to my day. So originally, when I picked up the part, it was 1 o'clock, and the route up to Scotland was going to be 6 hours. And when I'd finished with at home and was made my way up towards Edinburgh, it was now going to be an 8 o'clock time to arrive. So I called the shipper and said, I'm now on my way to Edinburgh. It's going to be at the very least 8 o'clock, but really, realistically, it's going to be more like 8:30 by the time I get there. So I told the shipper it's going to be up to 8:30, and they were absolutely fine with that. And so I carried on, went up towards Scotland and got into Scotland, no problem at all. And then probably about half an hour in, I came up to a road closure. Now it was closed due to, I think it was closed due to road works rather than an accident, because there were workmen there. And I think it might have just been closed, sort of like in a few minutes before I got there. There was other traffic coming and going around the area, not knowing how to get around it. And because I didn't know the area very well at all, I was trying to use Google Maps to get around it. And Google Maps just kept telling me to go down this road that was closed. And I couldn't see an obvious way around. So I scrolled out of my map, and I basically manually used the map to drive to a different road. I could see that there was another route up to Edinburgh from where I was, so that wasn't necessarily a problem. But it was getting myself onto the right road, which was the problem from where I was, because Google Maps wanted me to get going back to where my original route. And the reason was that the road that I was heading towards was a direct route to Edinburgh, as was mine. Sort of, imagine two parallel lines going up from southern Scotland to Edinburgh. But I think the one route that I was available was lanes more than a road, and it was probably 20 minutes slower. And so Google Maps just didn't want me to go that way. So I just had to keep ignoring Google Maps and sort of manually heading towards the way I wanted to go. And it just didn't. It kept wanting me to go back onto the route. So I got around the road closure and decided that I'd go back onto the original route, because it was still a lot quicker to go back onto the route that I had originally. Eventually I got there, but by the time I'd done that, and by the time I faffed about and done all that, my estimated time arrival was more like 5 to 9 now. And this was about 8:30. But I got past this about 20 past 8. Got past it and made my way up, and I had about half an hour to go by this point. And then I got a call from the shipper saying that, very nicely saying where was I, and I said what had happened, and they asked me to call the customer, because I had a customer number on my app. So I called the customer on their mobile. There was no answer, so I left a voicemail saying who I was, and I was on my way up, and I'd be there just before 9 o'clock. And I called again 10 minutes later. There was no answer. I called again 10 minutes after that. There was no answer. And by this point, I was 10 minutes away from the drop-off. So I felt that I'd done, although I hadn't talked to the customer, I felt that I'd done the best thing I could do. I'd called 3 times. The shipper knew the time I was going to be there. And I just hoped that by the time I got there, it would be all right. Most people are reasonable, and I wasn't that worried. And as it was, when I got to the drop-off point, I realised it was a residential house. And so I got up to this house. There was no lights on, but there was a vehicle outside. 2 vehicles outside. So I thought there must be someone at home, and there was a dog barking. And so I got the the part delivered, and it wasn't the customer himself. It was someone else at his house. But it was definitely the right house, and she was expecting it. So I gave her the part. She signed for it. I took a photo on the doorstep. I think what must have happened is that maybe the customer was actually at work and he wanted this part guaranteed to be delivered to him, so he went to his house. So I finished at 9 o'clock last night, got it delivered, and she was fine with it, and I got everything signed off and off CX. And then I looked at the Park for Night app and found the first place I found was this park in Dalkeith, which is about a mile and a half from my drop off. So I just came straight here last night, had a bit of a walk before I went to bed, and then got into bed about 10 o'clock and had a good night's sleep. It was a really nice place to park up. It's really quiet. It's good. It's obviously a park. The river is just behind me, and it's for dog walkers walking to and from this area. Yeah, so that was my day. So let me give you my stats for yesterday. When I do a big trip up to Scotland, I'm never quite sure about the diesel costs, and so because yesterday was really just one trip from Peterborough to Scotland, I've got a good idea now about how much it costs the diesel, which is quite helpful to know. So yesterday I did 7.5 hours work in total, which was just one job, one CX job. I did 314 miles, 314 miles, and my cost of fuel at the moment is 14.36 pence per mile. That means that my fuel cost for yesterday for the one trip cost £45.10. So if you think about it, if I was to think about 50 quid as being the diesel costs for a trip to Scotland, that's, you know, from where I live to Edinburgh, Glasgow area, £50 is about the cost for fuel, which is quite good for me to know. I got £300 for this job. That means that after fuel, I earned £255, which is over my target that I want to achieve. Obviously, I am now in Scotland, and today is a whole new ball game. I've decided today to pretend to be a Scottish driver. So rather than trying to, inverted commas, escape from Scotland today, I'm going to pretend that I've woken up in the morning, I'm a Scottish-based driver, and I'm going to just take the jobs as they come. If that means staying around Scotland, I'm happy to do that. The only problem with that is that the shippers give me work know that I'm not a Scottish driver, so I may not get work for that reason. They may make assumptions that I want to get out of the area. So if I can't do anything about that, I'm just going to pretend that I'm here all day and see what happens. And I've got today and tomorrow before I need to get home, so we'll see what happens. It has been a lot quieter on the CX app. It's 9:30 now, and there's been 5 jobs maybe come up. I bid on 3 of them. No, I bid on all 4 in the end. Yeah, one job got repeated and I bid on it the second time. This is the 5th job that's just come up. I've not got any of them at the moment, but it's a lot quieter than it would be elsewhere in the country on a day like today. So where I live, I'd probably be getting, I live in the country still, but even where I live, by this time in the morning, I would have got probably about 10, 15, 20 jobs come through on a Thursday. So the current job is Livingston to Motherwell. It's a small van job, 20 miles. I'm not that close to it, and I'm going to do a minimum of £50. So I'm highly unlikely to get it, but let's at least get a bid in, £50. So make quotes, and then carry on with talking to you. Yeah, so I've done my video for yesterday, and I'm going to do something different right now because it's important I don't mess this up. So this is the second time I've recorded this video this morning, and I'm going to bring this video to a close in a moment at this, and I'm going to start another video where I talk about my autistic traits, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. But for now, I'm going to bring this to a close. Bit different today because I've not been moving, so you just have a static view of what I can see. But I'm hoping that because I'm not moving and because I'm recording with a microphone, that the sound issue is gone now. That I'm hoping the sound is really good today. So yeah, that's that video. And this is for yesterday's work. And in a moment, I'm going to record another video in the same location about artistic traits. So, see you soon. Thank you for watching. What have you learnt today?